In the fall of 2003, in a forgotten corner of upstate New York, the small town of Ashfield was shaken by a case that never made national headlines, but has haunted its residents for decades. It began when the old Callahan residence, abandoned since the late 80s, was slated for demolition. The property, overgrown with weeds and vines, had long been a local legend. Rumors of strange lights, missing pets, and the sounds of children crying at night gave it an eerie reputation. The crew hired to tear it down started with the basement. That's where they found it, a wooden box sealed with nails and duct tape, tucked behind a false wall. Inside were 13 VHS tapes labeled only by date, spanning from 1983 to 1986, thinking they might be of historical interest. The contractor handed them over to the local library instead of the police. What the tapes contained was worse than anyone imagined. Each tape showed a different family or child, always inside the Callahan house. The first few looked almost normal birthday parties, bedtime routines, dinners. But as the tapes progressed, the footage became more disturbing. Children complained of the man upstairs who watched them sleep. Parents looked tired, paranoid. Whispers could be heard in the audio, even when no one was speaking. Shadows moved without a source. On the sixth tape, the camera pans across the living room and catches a figure standing behind the curtains, completely still, wearing a porcelain mask. Police were called. The tapes were confiscated, and a deeper investigation began. Property records showed the house had been rented out multiple times during that period. But every family had moved out within 6 months often, with no forwarding address. When contacted, a few could be found. All recalled disturbing incidents. Objects moving on their own, waking up with bruises. Or their children speaking to imaginary friends, who described exactly what was in the tapes. Decades before they were ever found. The final tape, dated November 1986, is the most disturbing. A new family moves in, mother, father, and 2 daughters. The footage is static-heavy, but it's clear something is stalking them. The family's mental state rapidly deteriorates over the course of days. The father begins sleepwalking. The mother scratches her arms until they bleed. One daughter disappears on camera, literally vanishes from one frame to the next. The last 5 minutes of the tape show the basement, where the camera had been set on a tripod. The lights flicker. Then, a face leans into frame. It's not a mask this time. A real face, gaunt, pale, and wide-eyed. It stares at the camera for nearly 2 minutes, smiling. Then it says, "You saw them too, didn't you?" before the footage cuts to black. The family was never identified. No missing persons report matched their descriptions. No neighbors recalled them moving in. In fact, official town records had no listing for any family living there in 1986. The tapes were never made public. Local authorities turned them over to the state, and no one has seen them since. But to this day, people swear that when the wind blows just right past the Callahan lot, you can still hear children laughing and a voice whispering, "You saw them too, didn't you?"